Topic 4. Banking. In this video, we're going to go through all bank-related transactions. So first, let's go to the banking in the navigation pane. Alright, so if we have the banking, we have 3 accounts available. We have checking account, savings, and MasterCard. If you click any of those, you're going to see transactions. For example, in this case, all the checking account related transactions, and then savings account related transactions, then MasterCard or credit card transactions. Another place to see those accounts is through the chart of account. In chart of account, we're going to see those accounts. We get banking, the checking account, savings account. Then we have the credit card account. And you see this account is with this connection signs showing these accounts are connected with your financial institutions. Okay. And we see 2 numbers for those accounts. We have a QuickBooks balance and bank balances, and those balances will be different unless we make reconciliation. It's because of time lag. You know, when we record our transactions in the QuickBooks, we may not get an update in the bank balance until we received the bank statement. So we're going to reconcile those discrepancies later. Now let's go back to the banking. We're going to show you how to use those accounts. Now I'm going to set up a bank account, to be more specific, a credit card account, to show how we use those accounts to record the transactions. So first I'm going to create a new credit card account. Okay, so I'm going to select a credit card. Then it's a credit card, and this credit card will be from American Express, Amex. Right? The same with the close. Now, as you can see, we have a new credit card, Amex credit card available. So we're going to use this credit card to do some of those transactions. So first, I'm going to use the credit card to pay for some expenses. For example, I purchased burger again. Now I use my new credit card. Okay. And it must be a meal expense. $30. Right, that's it. Save and down. Close. Alright, so let's go back to the chart of accounts. My credit card will show a $30 balance. A credit card account is account payable, so I owe $30. So for example, this $30 is the only amount I have for Amex for this period. So by the end of the month, I'm going to pay $30 to the company. Alright, there are at least two ways to pay for credit card. Okay, we can pay credit card by issuing a check. So now I'm going to find the credit card. Right, we don't see it. So we can add a new, just like Amex is a vendor. And the particular account related to this payment is going to be my Amex account payable. For example, I pay $15 using this check. Save and close. Now we go back to the chart of account. Okay, Amex credit card now has only $15 balance. Again, I'm going to pay these $15 using a second method, which is electronic payment or online transferring. Alright, so I'm going to create new. We're going to transfer money. Transfer fund from my checking account to my credit card account. And the transfer amount is $15, which is enough to cover the balance of the credit card. Right? Payment. Then save and close. Now we go back to the Amex credit card account. It will show zero balance. It's paid off. Now if I want to open a checking account, the bank, I want to open another checking account. Checking number 2. Save and close. Okay, now I have another checking account. The difference between this account and my checking account number 2 is checking account is the checking account number 2 is not connected with any of the financial institutions. Okay, so if you want to add more account, that's your real account, you can always link your existing bank account to QuickBooks Online, clicking link account. Okay, most major financial institutions has this function, can link those accounts with QuickBooks Online. Now let's talk about the bank fees. For example, for the master account, we can see all these transactions are listed for review. These transactions are downloaded from MasterCard account. Okay, and some of these transactions have been recorded in QuickBooks. And the system automatically identifies those matching records. For example, those solid green ones are perfectly matched with the QuickBooks records. $18.97 credit card purchase of Bob's Burger joint right? A credit card bill payment, and then Tanya's nursery expense. Okay, those are perfectly matched. So we can confidently record these transactions by clicking this match button. All right. And also we see those two records, although they show in green, but they're not solid green. It means that the system find records but are not 100% sure whether they're a perfect match. The reason is, if you look at these two, they are the same description, the same payee. The only difference is the time difference. And we do have two transactions with squeaky clean car. Okay, so let's review those transactions. Click this view function. So as you can see, we do have two credit card expense transactions with the same companies, one in December, one in January. And the credit card charged, this credit card charged in January the 3rd should match with this expense. So I click match. And the December one will be automatically matched. Okay. Now as you can see, we have only two transactions for review, and that's why here shows two transactions for review in QuickBooks for review. So for these two transactions, we did not record those transactions in QuickBooks. We just spent money with credit card. Okay. So now it's time to add back these transactions back to QuickBooks. However, the description is very brief. Amazon, Laura's, laminations. So we don't know unless we keep the receipt, right? That's why it's important to keep receipt. So we are not sure what are these. So we can expand the description. By selecting the show bank details. Okay, much better. Now we see more descriptions. And here we have Amazon software. So we purchased software from Amazon. And the other is the business card expense. Okay, then we know what are those expenses. So we can add these to QuickBooks. All right, so I'm going to add Amazon software first. But that will add these to uncategorized expenses. Okay, and to be more specific, I click uncategorized expenses for the business card. I want to be more specific. So these expenses will be recorded as office expenses. The stationery and the printing expenses, or office expenses. I'm going to choose office expenses. Right, and that's it. I'm going to add. Okay, so we'll recognize all these the credit card So it's a good habit to reconcile any of those bank account periodically. So for example, let's go back to the MasterCard, the credit card account. Right? For example, our credit card statement ends on January the 16th. January the 16th. Okay, so we're going to receive the statement from the credit card company. Okay, it's going to give us number $307.72. Okay. And our ending balance showing this amount. So we're going to reconcile those two by clicking on the reconciliation button. So the account we're going to reconcile is MasterCard. Okay, the ending balance we received from the company and the date is 16th. Okay, so we're going to start reconciliating. As you can see, the current difference between the MasterCard statement and my current balance is $87.23. Okay, so we're going to reconcile the difference. The reconciliation is pretty straightforward. Typically, we're going to select all of them, all of the transactions, and the system is automatically do the calculation. And sometimes we may deselect some of those transactions that are not appropriate. Right, so the reconciliation is very straightforward. So we're going to finish now to end. Okay, we reconciliated this account. Alright, so for the MasterCard, the next time we reconcile the MasterCard account, we're going to begin with this number. This is a reconciled number from the previous reconciliation. Okay. So next I'm going to reconcile the savings account. Okay, it's relatively easy. We have only one transactions that we need to deal with. Okay, it's a $200 deposit, and this record is found by the system, so we can just match it. Okay, so all the transactions has been reviewed, and this account is ready for our reconciliation. Right, so we go to the accounts and reconcile. Okay, the account we're going to reconcile is a savings account. We should receive $800 ending balance as of today, just 16th. Going to start reconciliation. Okay, so this account is relatively easy and straightforward. So immediately it's reconciled. Okay. If you want to make any changes, we're gonna click editor. For example, you put the wrong ending balance, you can make changes right here, or change ending date. Otherwise, we're gonna click finish now. So we reconcile this account. All right. So this period's reconciled balance, $800, automatically becomes the next period's beginning balance. So we're going to start with $800 the next time we do the reconciliation. And sometimes we have the problem that after the reconciliation, we go back and make some changes. Then the next time we do reconciliation, we will not begin with a corrected beginning balance. So let me illustrate these problems. It happens all the time. So let me go back to make some changes. So I'm going to just transfer some money, transfer money from the checking account to the savings account. Let's say we transferred as 15s. That's $100. Okay, I'm going to save and close. Next, I'm going to modify the previous transactions. Let's see what's going to happen. All right, so I'm going to go to the chart of accounts, savings account. Okay, this $200, this money transfer deposit has been shown as reconciled. So if we make changes, what's going to happen with this reconciliation? Okay, this is a bank deposit we did on December 22nd, okay, in which we deposit $200 to the savings account. So I'm going to make some changes. For example, we only deposit $189, okay? So instead of $200 deposit. So let's see what's going to happen. Save and close these transactions. Okay, the system is going to give you a warning. Okay, saying that the $200 basically has been reconciled. No, you made changes, right? This can cause differences between your bank and QuickBooks balances. Do you want to continue? Let's say yes. All right, now let's reconcile to see what's going to happen. First, I'm going to refresh this page to show the bank register. Where is my savings account? Right, it should show the balance after I make the change. So then I'm going to reconcile it. Okay, immediately the system found the problems. It's saying, okay, your beginning balance now is not $800, which is a reconciled balance from the previous reconciliation, right? Now my beginning balance is $789 instead of $800. That's a problem. Okay, the reconciliation will be stopped, and we have to fix it. Now we're going to click how to fix it. Okay, the problem is we modify these $200 to $189. That's caused the difference. Amount changed. Right, so this $11 difference is a problem because it was reconciled. Now it is not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the condition for this $11. Okay, C means it's recorded in the system but not reconciled, or I can remove it, the condition. Okay, let's save. Okay. Okay, let's put the latest balance. Now it's pretty easy to see the difference. We're gonna reconcile with the modified transactions because we removed these from the previous reconciliation. And then we're gonna also reconcile with a new transfer. The difference will be 0 now. Okay, so again we reconcile this account after we modify the previous reconciliation. Okay. So now let's go to the most difficult account, the checking account. We have, right, quite many transactions to review. By the way, the huge discrepancy between these two, the bank balance and QuickBooks, and I believe the bank balance does not recognize the opening balance. Okay, the bank statement does not show the correct, or we haven't received the latest bank statement yet. So this bank balance does not show the opening balance. But again, after we receive the bank statement and also reconcile the problems, the difference will be gone. Alright, so first of all, I want to actually deposit, okay, all the checks on hand before we do the reconciliation. So remember, when we receive payment from customers, right, usually we deposit to undeposit fund account. For example, if we receive payment, right, the default setting is we're going to deposit to undeposit funds, okay, which shows all the checks or cash on hand. So we're going to deposit these to my bank account, checking account to be more specific. So this is, we can do this through this bank deposit. So currently we have, right, 2 checks on hand. So I'm going to select all of them. I'm going to deposit as of January 15th. Okay. Again, goes to cashback? No. So all the total amount will go to the checking account. Go to the checking account. Okay, save and close. So the bank deposit is finished. Typically, we're going to attach the deposit slip from the banks, okay, to prove that these amount has been deposited. All right, so next we're gonna review the bank feeds from the checking account. These bank feeds are downloaded from the bank system. See, many of these transactions have been recognized by the QuickBooks, okay, with the solid green ones and most of the times we can confidently just click the match, okay, but sometimes things may happen. So it's better to review all these transactions briefly before you click the match. Especially the description sometimes will show the same name, okay, and the payee will be the same. The system will make mistakes sometimes. So I'm going to filter the transactions with recognized. Okay, I'm going to select all the recognized ones. Then I'm going to accept the match. Okay, so they are all gone. So then I remove the filter. So what's happening here is we have a solid green ones, and this one. So I'm going to start with the books Bessie. So basically it shows we have a $55 legal professional fees paid to Pans. So what's going on? It is green because the category of legal professional fees has some subcategory, okay, including accounting, bookkeeper, and lawyer. So the description says books by Bessie. Very likely it's a bookkeeping fees, but I can expand the description a little bit to see whether we have more information. So show bank details, okay, and that's it. That's all we have. So I assume it's bookkeeping fees. All right, so that's going to solve the green ones. So we're going to add, okay. Now the system automatically, add these expenses to, or this payment to as a legal fees, but we're going to solve these problems. Obviously, these are not legal professional fees. Okay, we're going to solve these pretty soon. But now I'm going to talk about the bank rules. As you can see, dealing with these transactions one by one is time consuming. But many of these transactions are the same type transactions. For example, this is rental. Well, we have 1 rental, 2 rental, 3 rental. Okay, all these are rental related transactions. And if we have hundreds of rental related transactions, we can save it into a bank rule. So the QuickBooks is going to use a bank rule to automatically record all the rental related transactions into rental expense. Okay, so let's do that. So we're going to select the rules. For now, we don't have any rules. Okay, so we're going to create rules for the most frequent transactions we have. So I'm going to create a new rule. So the name of the rule is rental. For any payment, money out, okay, in all my bank account, if the description contains rental, or the description contains, because I selected any. If you select all, then we have to satisfy all the conditions. Now it's either condition 1 or condition 2, or contains rent. You can add more conditions to make it more precise. If contains of these descriptions, then it is expense, right? To be more specific, that's a rental expense, right? Equipment rental. This is the only rental we have. So if we have to pay rent or lease, then you have to be careful. You have to create more rules to differentiate equipment rental or house rents. Okay, the only rental company we're dealing with is A1, but we don't have to select this payee for now. Okay, and so the system, when they see any rents or rentals in our bank feeds, it will automatically record these payments as equipment rental expenses. Right? Okay, we found this rental related transactions showing green again, which we have to pay attention, is because instead of payment, this is money received from the rental company. So we know it's a refund. Here shows refund. Okay, so we're gonna create a second rule. If we receive money back from rental company, it's gonna reduce my bank expense. So I'm going to create a new rule. Now this time is rental refund. It deals with money into my account. So if that shows any rental or rent, again, this is only for the most frequent transactions. If we don't have much refund, it's 1 or 2 every year, then don't create rule. Okay, if we have this, we're gonna report as a rental expense, but again, it's going to reduce my expense. As you can see, this transaction has been automatically recognized and added into QuickBooks. So I can create more rules. For example, if we have a lot of oil and gas expenses, okay, we can also add that. Gas, typically it's money out. So if we contain oil, or the description contain gas, then it become an expense. To be more specific, it's a fewer expenses under automobile. I'm probably going to add more if it shows as fuel, right? Fuel. Again, this is not very precise. You can create more rules to make it precise. Okay, to make it more precise. It's because if we have gas bills from utility companies, it will be recognized as automobile fuel expenses. So in this case, it will be recorded into wrong expense account. Again, the fuel expenses will be recognized. So we're going to clean up all these other transactions. So the Betty's bookkeeps, I'm going to match it. And we have the books by Bessie. This is we received money from sales. So we're going to record this as a reduction of the bookkeeping expenses. Okay, this is a car wash. Again, we have the car wash problems. We're going to match it with the date. It looks good. And the other three, they automatically reported legal professional fees, but obviously it is wrong. So I'm going to report these hardware expenses. I'm going to put them into the, if they're for maintenance expenses, I'm going to put into maintenance expenses. Equipment repairs, for example, in this case. And this is machinery. Building repair. And marks. I'm going to put into the office expenses, for example. Alright, finally there's only one fee left, which is $868.15. If you remember, this relates to the deposits. Okay? The previous deposit will be $868.15. This is original fee for that deposit. Then we modify that deposit. We reduce deposit to savings account, so we increase the deposit to checking account. So the new deposit will be $879.15. Therefore, the original, this old fee does not match the QuickBooks records. Okay? So it is shown as unrecognized one, and if we add, it will be added into uncategorized income, but it's not income, it's a deposit. So if we do any of these match or adding, it's going to distort our income or expenses. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to exclude it. Okay, meaning I'm not going to do anything about this. Okay, it's outdated feed. It's no longer relevant. All right, so we clean up all the feeds in the checking account. So the next we're going to do is we are going to reconcile the checking account as a final step. Let's see, view the register, checking account. So let's check the checking account register. So the deposit is already there, so we don't have to worry about the deposit number. Yes, right, $879.15. So assume we received the bank statement showing $499.14. Assuming this check has not been cleared by the bank. Okay. So we're going to reconcile the checking account showing an ending balance as of today. I'm going to start reconciliation. So typically we're going to select all the transactions we have. Then we're going to find out why there's a difference. Okay, first of all, we know one check is not cleared, which is the MOX, the $18 we paid to the MOX is not cleared yet because we couldn't find that in the bank statement, which is this one, will be unselected. Okay, then we're going to find out where's another $55 difference. Now, first we're going to check by the amount. Most of the time we're going to find those transactions. Obviously we identified two $55. Okay, one is a check is issued to Books by Pesci. The other is expense recognized for pharmacies. Both are legal professional fees, and we know pharmacies is associated with Books by Pesci. Basically, they're talking about the same transactions. First of all, we need to go back to check, have we paid that company twice, $55, or just once? So it's confirmed that we paid just $155. Then obviously this entry was manually added from bank feeds, $55. Instead, it should have matched with this check. By manually adding these bank feeds to the QuickBooks, we duplicated the expense by $55. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to solve this problem. This was not added correctly. Alright, so I'm going to add it to these transactions. Yeah, this was not added correctly. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to avoid these transactions. This was not correctly added. right, so let's go back to the banking to see if everything's okay. It says, yes, this is not this bank feed was not matched to any of the transactions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to match it with the I'm going to match with this check. Although the payee name is different, but we know they are talking about the same transaction. Okay, so it is now matched and problem solved. Okay, now I'm going to go back to the reconciliation. Resume reconciliation. Because the problem has been solved, so there's no more difference. Okay, no more difference. So I can reconcile. The account is reconciled. So the next time this time's ending balance will automatically become the next time's beginning balance. And we can also view the reconciliation statement, right? So this is a reconciliation statement for the last period. Okay, I can print it to a PDF file. Alright, so this is pretty much for banking. Okay.